So for my field research project, I chose to do a non-human primate observation at Zoo World in Panama City Beach, Florida. It's been a very long time since I've been to the zoo, and I've never actually been to this particular zoo, so this project was a great opportunity not just for my primate research, but also to just explore all the enclosures Zoo World had to offer. So I started out knowing one of the primates I wanted to observe was the lemur, which was perfect because they are one of the first animals you see when entering the zoo. The second primate I will be observing in this video is the white-fronted capuchin. I was unsure of what other primate to observe other than the lemur, but I eventually landed on the capuchin, and y'all will see why later. So the main goal of my research was to explore how the social behaviors of these primates I was able to observe at Zoo World compared to the behavior of their counterparts living in their natural habitat. So for my first primate observation, I started at the lemur enclosure, more specifically the ruffed lemur enclosure. There were actually two separate classifications of this lemur in the same enclosure, which really interested me. The red ruffed lemur, scientifically known as Varicea rubra, and the black and white ruffed lemur, also known as Varicea variegata. I know it makes sense to group them together as lemurs are gregarious, so they're very social animals. So when it comes to a limited amount of ruffed lemurs in captivity, the more the merrier for a single enclosure. It was still interesting to me though, and it led me to find out that these two are rarely found grouped together like this in their natural habitat. While they both live in Madagascar, the black and white ruffed lemur is found in eastern parts of Madagascar, while the red ruffed lemur is found almost exclusively in northeastern Madagascar. The two are separated by the Antanamalama River. While separated, they are still able to communicate with each other through distinct vocalizations to warn of danger. They also communicate through scent marking. Though I did not observe either of these behaviors, I want to show y'all what I did observe. So first off, they are more of an indoor enclosure, but still get plenty of sunlight, as you can see from the glare on almost every single video I took. But when looking at the lemurs, if someone wasn't paying attention, they may believe that the different colors is some form of drastic sexual dimorphism. But as stated, that's not the case. They're just two separate classifications of ruffed lemur. But when it comes to sexual dimorphism, the red lemur shows slight sexual dimorphism, with the male being slightly larger than the females, which kind of surprised me, knowing that when it comes to lemurs, the females are the dominant ones. But when it comes to the black and white ruffed lemur, they are not sexually dimorphic and almost impossible to tell which one is the male or female unless you get real up close and personal. At first glance, I was a little disappointed to see the lack of greenery, and I was also disappointed to see concrete floors. Ruffed lemurs are arboreal quadrupeds, and while I did see them moving around on all fours, I was unable to observe them climbing and swinging in their enclosure. Although they have a good amount of branches and high spaces in their enclosure, there is no way they have the same experience or enrichment as their wild counterparts living in the green trees canopies of Madagascar. I started my observation around 2, as they are most active in the morning and late afternoon. They were munching on some food when I got there, and like most primates, they have opposable thumbs, so they use their hands to eat. They were eating some lemur chow, but they were also fed a good balance of fresh fruits and vegetables to attempt to mimic their natural diet of fruits, nectar, and pollen. I also observed 2 types of grooming, self-grooming and group or paired grooming, both very normal behavior of lemurs in the wild. But according to the National Institution of Health, lemurs are seen to self-groom more often in captivity than their wild counterparts, most likely due to stress. Another natural behavior I observed was group huddling and cuddling, and it was very cute. At this point in my observation, I did have to leave the zoo to help my brother set up for trick-or-treaters, but don't worry, I did return. I started my second part of the observation a couple weeks later, around the same time at 2 o'clock. This time around, I didn't see as many lemurs, so they may have been a part of the enclosure that was not visible, or they may have had a lemur experience session. But either way, the ones I did observe were all up chilling high, bathing in the sun. And I also caught this. This could be them just trying to get around, but it also could be more than that, as in their natural habitat, they can be known to jump over one another in playful social interactions. Some concluding notes for my lemur observation. All I really want to say is I was decently surprised. from the amount of natural behaviors I was able to observe from these little guys, which is always a really good thing to see with any animal in captivity. So moving on, the next primate I decided to observe was the white-fronted capuchin. I started my observation at around 2:45 on the 14th of November, which was the same day of my extended lemur observation. They are a New World monkey natively found in Central and South America. So I was observing one of what I thought was just two capuchins in the enclosure when I saw it. Y'all, there was a freaking baby. Oh my goodness, it was so cute. The two mature monkeys were a mated pair. I was able to talk to a zookeeper for a little bit more information. I wasn't able to talk long because she was trying to feed the animals, and also I sadly forgot to catch her name, but she was very sweet and very helpful. She told me the baby was just around 2 months old and they had just recently found out that he was a male. Immediately upon seeing this infant, I knew I wanted to explore the social roles of capuchins in their natural habitat, especially when there's an infant involved, and compare it to the behaviors of these captive paired mates. In their natural habitat, white-fronted capuchins can be found in groups of 6 all the way up to 40, which is a huge difference from this enclosure. In their natural habitat, they are also polygamous, with both males and females having possibly multiple different reproductive partners. But as these two are in captivity together, they have no choice in choosing their reproductive partners. The zookeeper also informed me that this was the pair's second offspring together, which is not uncommon in the wild, but there would be the possibility of different mates if they were in their natural habitat. In many cases, the mother will bond with other female capuchins and allow for them to help care for her infant. The infant also doesn't have many other capuchins to interact with, which can stunt the infant's social development. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, because this is a mated pair in captivity, the possibility of infanticide, where new males will intentionally kill offspring to try and attempt to mate with the female, is very, very low. The zookeeper also informed me that the pair aren't as affectionate anymore and don't cuddle with each other. She said she's seen the male try and the female was not having it. She is caring for her baby full time, and I respect it. I really enjoyed this project and learned a lot about how being in captivity can affect a primate's behavior.